Picture this. It's a freezing night in Paris, 2008. Rain is pouring down, cabs are nowhere in sight, and two frustrated men are standing on the curb, drenched, late, and annoyed. That single moment of irritation would spark an idea that would completely change how the world moves. Because, let's be honest, we've all been there, standing helpless, waving at taxis that never come, wondering why getting a ride has to be so difficult. But for Garrett Camp and Travis Kalanick, that frustration became fuel for innovation. This is the unbelievable story of Uber, a story about ambition, chaos, disruption, and reinvention. It's the story of how two tech outsiders built a global empire from a simple thought. What if getting a ride was as easy as tapping a button? But it's also a story about what happens when disruption spins out of control, when innovation collides with ethics, and when power pushes people to the edge. So buckle up, because the ride gets wild. Paris nights and big ideas. Our story begins with Garrett Camp, a Canadian engineer and serial entrepreneur. Garrett had already co-founded StumbleUpon, a hit website that helped users stumble upon cool pages before algorithms ruled the internet. He'd made money, but what he loved most was solving daily frustrations with clever tech. Then comes Travis Kalanick, the opposite of polished Silicon Valley types. A fiery coder from Los Angeles, he'd already seen both failure and success. His first company, Scour, had gone bankrupt after the music industry sued them for hundreds of billions in damages. His next venture, Red Swoosh, sold for millions. Kalanick was the classic underdog, smart, scrappy, and unafraid to break things to make progress. The two met through the startup scene and shared the same irritation with taxis. Slow, unreliable, expensive. That rainy night in Paris, it became their eureka moment. Garrett turned to Travis and said, "What if you could just tap your phone and get a car?" That one thought would ignite a revolution in urban transportation. UberCab, the little app that could. In 2009, back in San Francisco, the idea became reality. They called it UberCab, a sleek app for booking black luxury cars, the kind executives used. At first, it was just Garrett, Travis, and a few friends testing the app. You'd press a button and a black car would show up in minutes. For the early tech crowd, it felt like magic, a VIP experience for anyone with a smartphone. They launched quietly, but word spread fast. San Francisco's startup community fell in love. UberCab wasn't just a new service, it was a glimpse of the future. Then came the first roadblock: city regulators. Authorities said the word cab implied it was a taxi company, which meant it needed licenses and compliance like one. So, in classic startup style, they just dropped the word. UberCab became simply Uber. Faster, cooler, and ready for takeoff. But this wasn't just a name change, it was an identity shift. Uber wasn't trying to be a taxi company, it was trying to be bigger than taxis altogether. The global takeover. Once Uber found its rhythm, it exploded. City by city, country by country. Every week, it seemed to launch somewhere new. New York, London, Dubai, Sydney. Investors couldn't throw money fast enough. Big names like Benchmark Capital, Google Ventures, and later SoftBank poured in billions. Uber became one of the fastest growing startups in history. But it wasn't just convenience that made Uber addictive. It was control. You could see your driver approaching, track the route, split fares, pay digitally. And then came the infamous surge pricing. When demand spiked during rush hour, rainstorms, or New Year's Eve, prices surged automatically. People complained, sure, but they still paid. Because Uber was the only thing that worked when everything else failed. And that's when it became more than a company. It became a verb. Let's Uber there. Competitors emerged fast. Lyft in the US, Ola in India, Grab in Southeast Asia, and Didi Chuxing in China. The war for global dominance had begun. Uber's mission was conquer first, ask questions later. And under Kalanick's leadership, that's exactly what they did. But beneath the billion-dollar valuation and sleek marketing, something darker was brewing. The chaos inside and the fall of a founder. Inside Uber's headquarters, the culture was pure adrenaline. Kalanick's motto? Always be hustlin'. It meant move fast, break rules, win at all costs. That mindset built an empire, but it also built a monster. Drivers began to protest low pay and unfair policies. Regulators accused Uber of skirting laws. Rival companies accused it of dirty tricks. And then came the Greyball scandal, software Uber allegedly used to avoid government inspectors. Then, in 2017, came a breaking point. A former engineer, Susan Fowler, published a now legendary blog post describing rampant sexual harassment and a culture of fear inside Uber. Her story went viral, sparking outrage across Silicon Valley. The dominoes fell quickly. Uber faced lawsuits, boycotts, and mass resignations. Meanwhile, Google's self-driving car division, Waymo, sued Uber for stealing trade secrets after it acquired a startup called Otto. For the first time, Uber's biggest threat wasn't competition, it was itself. Under mounting pressure from investors, the board, and the media, Travis Kalanick, the man who built the empire, was forced to resign as CEO in 2017. The disruptor had been disrupted. The reset, a new Uber. When Dara Khosrowshahi, the calm, diplomatic CEO of Expedia, stepped in, Uber was a battlefield. His job? Clean up the chaos. He reshaped Uber's image from reckless disruptor to responsible innovator. He focused on restoring trust, not just with customers, but with drivers, employees, and governments worldwide. Uber started to look beyond rides. It expanded Uber Eats, invested in freight logistics, and continued developing self-driving technology, betting on a future where the Uber you order might not even have a driver. Internally, Khosrowshahi pushed for a more inclusive culture. Gone were the slogans about hustling at all costs. In their place, accountability, diversity, and sustainability. Then came 2019, Uber's long-awaited IPO. It was one of the biggest in tech history, valuing the company at nearly $80 billion. But the excitement was mixed with anxiety. Shares stumbled at first, reflecting a sobering reality. Uber was powerful, but still not profitable. Still, it was a moment of redemption. Uber had survived its darkest hour, and somehow it was still on the road. Beyond rides, the future of movement. Today, Uber is more than a ride-hailing app. It's a mobility ecosystem that moves people, food, and freight. A digital backbone for modern cities. When the pandemic hit in 2020, rides plummeted, but Uber Eats soared. People stuck at home turned to Uber for groceries, meals, and medicine. Once again, the company adapted and survived. Uber also doubled down on sustainability, committing to zero-emission rides by 2040. Electric vehicles, bikes, and scooters became part of its ecosystem. Yet the debates rage on. Are Uber drivers employees or contractors? Is the gig economy empowering or exploitative? Uber didn't just change how we move, it changed how we work. And while its story is far from over, one thing is certain. It forced the world to rethink the meaning of transportation, technology, and trust. From a rainy night in Paris to a company operating in over 70 countries, Uber's journey has been a wild mix of innovation, rebellion, and redemption. Uber started as a frustration and became a phenomenon. It proved that one small idea, sparked by everyday annoyance, can reshape entire industries. But it also taught the world a hard truth. Innovation without responsibility can drive straight into chaos. Uber gave the world wings, but also a mirror. It showed us the double-edged sword of disruption. Incredible convenience on one side, deep societal questions on the other. And yet, despite it all, we still tap that little black icon almost every day. Because for better or worse, Uber changed the way the world moves, forever. And that, my friend, is a story worth telling.